104, 106.
The Neil Prendeville Show on Red FM.
Siobhan, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Neil. How are you?
I'm good, and I really am very grateful for you for getting in touch. You sent an email to me which seems to outline the activities of a young man who is having multiple altercations in the city with women. And a lot of the stories that the women are sharing seem to have a lot of similarities. Firstly, can you fill us in on the backstory to this?
So, it came from me just stumbling across Reddit, the r/Cork Reddit, and it seemed that the individual that wrote the post, commented on a stalking sort of harassment case, and it was the line that he had said that I've just moved here from Singapore, that sent red flags straight away.
Why?
And I had about 5 incidents with the same individual, it seems, with the same line, "Hi, I've just moved here from Singapore 3 days, and so have my friends." So I stumbled across it, and I wrote, I shared my own story, and it seems that all the individuals posting in the post have had the same exact, down to a T, altercation with himself.
Okay. You had. Let me just deal with yours, if you don't mind. First, you had You said you had a number of altercations with him.
Yeah.
It was a lot worse than that, actually, wasn't it? I mean, it was quite serious.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing them?
So my first was, I was waiting for the Q16 just in Cork City, and it was quite dark and it was winter, and I was waiting for my bus, and this person came up to me and asked me when the next bus was. I let him know when it was, and then he asked me if I lived in Cork City, and I replied normally, but was very aware that I was not going to give out my exact postcode, but I did tell him that I lived near enough to the city. Then he asked me if he could get on the bus with me, and I said no. I have no interest in that. And then he asked me if I wanted to come for a drink with him. I also declined that offer. I then got on my bus and kind of went away, and then about 6 months later I come back from Erasmus, which I had just left for like a month after this first incident, and I was waiting just by the Lidl in the city. I was waiting for a friend, and this person comes up to me smiling, thinking I just knew him from working in a restaurant or something. I kind of smiled back, said, "Hello, how are you?" Just thinking that, oh God, I'd forgotten this person completely.
Yeah. And
then he kind of mentioned that he was, it was a really nice day, which it was. And then he kind of mentioned, "Oh yeah, I'm just moved here from Singapore." And my jaw dropped, and I went, "This is the same person from the bus." He had said the same exact thing. And I was kind of like, well, surely there's not just 2 people who have moved from Singapore within like a few months. And I kind of mentioned it to a friend on the way. I got up and left and went to meet her because I was like, this is kind of fishy. And I kind of told her about what had gone on, and she said she had the exact same interaction with the person a few weeks back, just on Oliver Plunkett Street, and said it got really weird and kind of hostile. So a few weeks after the incident by Lidl, I work in a bar here in Cork City, and I kind of said a person came upstairs where I was working and kind of took his top off to dance, and then just out of the corner of my ear I kind of look at him and I go, "Oh, it's very familiar, I don't know who he is." And I just eavesdrop over to the conversation, and I hear, "I've just moved here from Singapore 3 days ago."
God,
and I was like,
freaky.
"Oh my God, it's him. And I kind of was like, that's so strange. And I mentioned it to my manager, and I then found out the same individual had been barred from a previous place that she had worked at for following girls into the toilets in the place she worked in. So I kind of mentioned to her, and she goes like, "Yeah, he's gone, no chance." And a couple of times after, he keeps trying to come into the bar. And then on one incident, he kind of said, I mentioned to the bouncer that was him. She got him out straight away, and he started saying that he was going to kill me, and that he's going to get a solicitor after me, and it was a race thing.
Okay.
And I was kind of like, oh my God.
That's seriously worrying now. Okay, throwing the race card is one thing, but threatening to kill you is another thing. It sounds to me as if you work in a late bar, which could see you leaving work late at night. I don't mean to freak you out now, but this is probably going through your mind.
No. It's the reality of it,
Yeah. So you would be leaving late from work at night, possibly on your own.
Yeah, I'd be leaving between like 12 and 2 a.m. depending on how busy the night is.
Okay. So this business of just arrived from Singapore, that seems to be the standard patter. I like Ireland. Do you want to come for a drink with me? You didn't mention, but you did in your notes to me that he asked, could he go home with you? This is very alarming conversations to be having with women or to anybody that you don't know, right? So, so you then saw obviously you had spoken to other people who had similar incidents with him, and then you saw loads and loads and loads of women on Reddit sharing similar type stories about just going about their normal day. Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all of these incidents have happened across different times as well, especially my ones. Some have happened in the evening, some have happened at like midday. You know, there's no sort of time constraint for it, if you will.
Okay. So, because I looked at those Reddits as well, and jump in and out with me anytime you want, but women were saying they would be wearing, the big headphones, the ear-cancelling headphones. They might have beanies on. They might have big parkas on, well wrapped up, ear pods in. Excuse me, can I ask you a question? Will you go for a walk with me? These are what the other girls are saying. It's a lovely sunny day. Will you come to the gym with me? Will you add me to your phone? I've just moved to Ireland. Am I missing anything with regards to all of these similarities that other women have spoke about?
Hang on.
Do we need to get some sort of a description of this chap, just to have people on alert? Do you think? Do you have a description of him?
Yeah, I do. And like, he's kind of, the thing is, he's quite just everyday looking, and that's the thing with sort of like harassment and stalkers. There's never a boogeyman. It's a very everyday kind of individual. He's about like, I'd say 5'8", tan, dark hair, sort of kind of cleanly shaven beard, and also like it's the eyes. I think you can see that in the Reddit post. Lots of people are going on about, oh my God, he has the scariest eyes, Dark, piercing eyes and a massive smile, apparently. But yes.
There's nothing wrong with a big, massive smile. If it's meant for all of the right reasons. Age,
like anywhere from like late 20s to early 30s.
Okay. Accent.
It's one of those accents that you can't really place. It's kind of, it could be anywhere.
As in, it could be any international accent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because looking at some of the places then where these altercations or this harassment of women, or he's followed women, or he won't leave them alone or pesters them, can be all over the city. You mentioned, I think, Grand Parade at one stage. You mentioned, I see other, jump in again if you will, I see other women talking about North Main Street, the Western Road. Oliver Plunkett Street, thank you. York Hill.
Mm-hmm.
Was there one situation where he ran away up York Hill? Yeah. Has he been reported to on Garda Síochána, do you know?
I think, like, the thing is like, I think a lot of people are aware, like, of this individual obviously has mental health issues as well, you know.
I was going to ask you that. Do you think that's what this is? Do you think that's what this is?
Well, I don't think anyone in their right state of mind would ever kind of do this. Like, this is not to say like a normal behaviour, and I'm very aware of that, but it's just when you get to a point where your mental health is also scaring women and interfering with other people's mental health, it's just not right, and I think people have mentioned that they've gone to the guards, but because it's just there's no photo evidence, there's no script, it's very difficult to pin down, and I've had my own issues with harassment that I've had to go to the guards with, and they've been very good, but it just takes a lot of time. And it's a very difficult one to just pin down, and I understand that.
Yeah, without overly dwelling on your own issues with harassment, and you went to the guards, did you get that resolved?
It's still going on.
Okay, because I looked at I hope you do. I looked at the 2020 legislation. The legislation was updated in 2020, because harassment is a crime. In fact, it can have anything up to 10 years in prison. I was kind of interested in looking at that because, following, watching, monitoring, tracking, spying, pestering. Pestering is an interesting one. This is an element of harassment. Communicating with or about a person, interfering with the property of people, loitering in the vicinity of a person. Like this guy would tick at least some of those boxes: the loitering in the vicinity of a person, pestering a person. This is clearly pestering a person, isn't it?
Of course, yeah. Especially if you've had many of the same altercations, But
are the Gardaí saying that there's just not enough to go on? Even all of these other girls on Reddit talking about... And are all the other girls kind of describing the same kind of guy?
Describing the same kind of guy. It's the same saying, I've just moved here from Singapore 3 days.
Yeah, so what we know is he's saying it's a stunning day, would you join me for a walk? He falls into step with me, even though I'm wearing sunglasses and AirPods, he still won't leave me alone, inviting me for a walk. He asked me, could he just talk to me? He says that he is just arrived from overseas, you say Singapore, and he's looking for some tourist advice. He could be a very, very lonely person that doesn't realise that he's upsetting and scaring people.
So you can definitely be lonely, but I think when your loneliness starts affecting people physically, mentally, and we live in Cork has gotten it seems that it's gotten quite unsafe in the last years, and I know my friends and myself have all had, unfortunately, been affected by, harassment or some sort of sexual abuse or so on, or sexual harassment. So it's not like it's getting any better, and
well, when you say that, you and about a lot of your friends, it sounds to me as it's gotten much, much worse.
Yeah, and I feel like it's probably always been this level, but people are talking about it now.
Yeah, I know, but at the same, I mean, we hear of sentences in court for very extreme harassment and stalking and the threat of rape. You're aware of that. There's a convicted stalker released from prison after serving a sentence for harassing and threatening vile threats against a woman in Cork. She bravely went to the guards, and it went all the way to court. That's a serious extreme, yeah. But there's the potential. There's a potential for more of that. If a guy is going around saying, can I go home with you or come for a drink with me, a total stranger on the street, I mean, the advice should be to say no, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing. Many people are saying no, but he's still pestering and going on. And we can excuse it for loneliness, but who's to say that this is not going to get worse or become one of those court cases or become a violent individual,
There was a girl did go for a drink with him. Did you read that?
No, I didn't.
One of the Reddit posts that I read, apparently she did, and the whole thing got very weird after a while, and she had to be rescued by her pals. Don't know which post it was, and then they moved to another bar, and would you believe it? There he is looking in the window of the bar.
Of course, yeah.
That doesn't surprise you, no? Something like that?
Yeah, no, doesn't surprise me at all.
So, is the city or is society then becoming more and more dangerous, do you think, for women?
I'm not sure. It's a tough one to answer. I personally feel that it has, but I also wasn't a 22-year-old in the 90s or the 30s or the 80s even. So I can't really say for that, But I feel like more people are coming forward and, maybe it's just being highlighted more. So the world's always been a dangerous place for women. It's never not, and unfortunately I don't think it ever will be not dangerous, So you're
always on alert, are you?
Of course. You can't. It's a shame to say, but if the supports aren't there for women in the city, and if there's not a lot of Garda presence or things being done by universities, say on kind of rag week and stuff, you see people God knows what doesn't get reported. There needs to be sort of patrons about and stuff, but then again, there's comes into costs and so on. So it's a difficult one to pin down, and I unfortunately do not have all the answers on it, but I would like to see something done at least.
And how far through all of the different stories from Cork women did you read on Reddit?
It got quite upsetting after a while, seeing, I couldn't really take it all in, but I got quite far down.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so I'm just wondering, what are all of the other girls saying should happen with regards to this guy?
I think a lot of people are asking for more Garda presence and so on, but that's easier said than done. And I know there's not, we don't have a lot of guards, unfortunately, and there's only so much that one person could do or one sort of unit can cover,
And these
I don't
posts,
think there's a real defining kind of explanation.
these posts on Reddit are right up to very recent altercations with them, are they? It's not as if it was last month or 2 months. It's recent.
Yeah, for me, I've had from a year and a half ago to about a month ago. So I presume he's still in the city somewhere.
You think that the Gardaí should talk to him at least?
I think, 100%. I think that's the least they could do. I would like this, but again, you can't take for verbatim what a Reddit post is. That can't be enough evidence, And I don't know, a lot of women have difficulties going to the Garda Síochána because of past incidents, So it's kind of the real difficult one to sort of pin down, I guess.
Okay, well, you've certainly had altercations more than once with this individual.
Yeah.
So that's enough to be starting with. Never mind the 175 other comments and growing on Reddit.
I know, yeah, and growing.
Let's see what other people have to say on the matter. You'd never know who might be listening. They may also have had situations with this individual. But I do appreciate you coming forward. I really and truly do. And thank you for taking the time this morning. You're very kind. Look after yourself.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, take care, Siobhan.
Bye now. Take care.
The Neil